Hello and welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, International Monetary Fund urges Ghana to stick to its program guidelines to help bring about the needed transformation to the economy.
Is that going forward, it will be really important that Ghana continues to implement the program that they have developed as envisaged. That is really critical. These programs are not, are designed to be implemented over 3-4 years.
We have more details from the Fund's press conference in Washington, D.C., USA, plus some analysis for you on that. Also in this bulletin, former Finance Minister Seth Terkper attributes recent improvement in Ghana's economic fundamentals to the Bank of Ghana's zero financing of government budget, but warns the economy is far from recovery.
Just like the VAT, which we are creating many levies and the rest, is an emission or punitive tax under our excise regime. And I think if there's reason to impose additional, I think we should be clear that is probably for revenue reasons.
Plus, as we mark World Safer Internet Day, we take a look at some of the risks in the Ghana cyberspace and the need for awareness. We have details of these and many others lined up for you. Please stay. Always a delight to have you on. I am Pious, Kojo, Backah. We can now take a look at our stories. And the International Monetary Fund has indicated it's very important for Ghana to stick to its program guidelines and plan to help bring about the needed transformation to the economy. The government is currently working to reach a final deal with its bilateral and commercial creditors on the debt restructuring. However, there are fears the push for equal terms for all categories of creditors could drag the process and hurt Ghana's program and the economy as well. Backah Selassie is the director of the African department at the International Monetary Fund and has been speaking at a media engagement in Washington, D.C., USA.
Ghana program, is being implemented effectively. We just went to the board recently with the first program review, following, of course, the policies that the government has been putting in place to address the huge imbalances Ghana was facing through last year, and of course creditors signaling that official creditors signaling that they will provide debt relief consistent with what Ghana needs. So we just went to the board, I think, a couple of weeks ago. What I can say is that going forward, it will be really important that Ghana continues to implement the program that they have developed as envisaged. That is really critical. These programs are not, are designed to be implemented over 3-4 years, and it's really important that Ghana sticks the course and sees the program being implemented over the next 3 years. So we look forward to continuing to support Ghana consistent with program implementation.
So let's go on to Zoom and speak to economist and political risk analyst Dr. Theo for some analysis on these concerns raised by the International Monetary Fund's Africa Director, Backah Selassie. Thanks so much, Doc, for joining me here on the marketplace. Are you worried when the IMF says that we should try and stick to program guidelines and terms to aid in Ghana's economic transformation, you would say?
Yes, to an extent, and good afternoon. It's largely on account of the fact that, especially in election years, we've seen major slippages in the country, both on the fiscal front, on the monetary front, and in fact, in our last program that we entered into in 2016, and that was also an election year, we could not meet a number of the benchmarks, and therefore we had to even extend the program by another year and some months until 2019. So the caution from the IMF Africa Director is really to the point that we have seen historically some of these slippages even under an IMF program, especially with the pressure that comes with the election and then the temptation to overspend.
I want us to connect this, try to link it to the tax on electricity and arguments that we need to, or the IMF's permission basically before it can be removed. Do you agree to that argument being made around?
You don't necessarily need the IMF's permission. We went to the IMF with a program, and the program that we sent to under the PCPEG, the post-COVID program for economic recovery, had a number of things that we said we were going to do on the revenue side and then also on the expenditure side. Nobody disputes the fact that you've got to raise the revenue threshold from about 13 to about 18 or so percent of GDP as compared to our peers. The challenge has to be, where are you going to bring those monies from? And the proposal, particularly with the VAT on electricity, suffers from two issues. The key one being really the timing of that tax introduction. Given again, you've got an election year, but you also have a lot of households that have been struggling for the last 2 years with cost of living and inflation. And given again that, if you look at the household consumption expenditure, aside food and transport and others, bills or electricity bills are one of the big aspects of it. Then you begin to see why there's a bit of a pushback from citizens and then from labor for the government to at least temporarily scrap or to hold onto that tax, for now, because it could actually further fuel or drive, the inflation that we have been seeing starting to come down in the last couple of months. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg thing. Politically, very, very sensitive, but also the fact that the recovery that we're seeing is just about, turning the corner in that sense. Any attempt to impose extra hardships on citizens by way of some of these taxes would always, face some of these pushback.
And how do you think this will be playing out, especially agitations from, the labor front kicking against basically on the electricity, VAT and what have you? How do government go about, communicating that to the IMF, and would they accept it?
Oh, they have to just be clear with the IMF. I think the government has already made a decision, from what I've read in the media, that the tax is going to be scrapped, right, for now. So it's a question of going back to the fund and communicating that. I don't know what the revenue yield of that tax would be off the top of my head, but clearly we have other bigger issues with also the expenditure side, right, of the equation. So even for this particular fiscal year 2024, if we're still able to keep tabs on some of the spending commitments, then you do not need to introduce those new taxes, like the 15% VAT on electricity. And that should be the posturing and what we go and communicate to the IMF. I don't think that the IMF should have any issue whatsoever with a sovereign nation like Ghana saying that, yeah, we said we're going to do this. However, on second thought, perhaps the timing is an issue, and we need to be able to support households one way or the other without imposing undue burden on them.
Dr. Champon, what more have you picked up when it comes to debt negotiations with bilateral and commercial creditors?
Those conversations are still ongoing. I do know that the government is trying to work through to get the March 2024 deadline with the private creditors, but some of the numbers are still being run. So basically, it comes down to the issue of the comparability of the debt treatment, that whatever Ghana has gotten from the official bilateral creditors is almost going to be the same in either in MPV terms with what they would also get from the commercial creditors, the Eurobonds. And that's where the conversation is sort of hanging at the moment. But I do think that March deadline was always going to be a tricky one in my view. And we're probably looking about the second half of the year to get some resolution, on that front. But that is really, really key, because whatever we're getting from the IMF and the World Bank, and even subsequent release of money under the third and the fourth and the sixth reviews would all be contingent on us making substantial progress on the restructuring of the external commercial debt.
All right, so let's shift focus now and talk about the Bank of Ghana. Yesterday, they did launch a new portal, a new macroeconomic portal. Now, someone who plays in the academic space like yourself, I don't know what you make of that portal and what that really would mean to the space you operate in.
Oh, I think it's huge. I already have congratulated the central bank for what they've done. It's very, very positive. It allows researchers like myself and others to, get access to the data in a format that is readily and easily usable. Hitherto, you have to download some of these reports in a PDF and manually enter the data and do your analysis. But now I can easily go on the portal, and I've had a chance to actually play around with it. And I can download, series from GDP, inflation, economic activity, the fiscal balances, you name it, in a format that allows me straight away to do the analysis. So yeah, kudos to the central bank for such a wonderful platform that they provided. And this is the thing: when our institutions are doing well, we must commend them. And definitely, if things are not going well as well, we also tell them where things are not going well and what they can do to improve it. But on this note, I think they've done a very, very good job, and kudos to them. And similarly, also, in my view, extend commendations also to the Ghana Statistical Service. They've been doing a lot of great work when it comes to data dissemination, data availability, and the government statistician has actually been quite forthcoming and engaging when it comes to making data available. Similarly, the Ministry of Finance as well. So these are all positive things that I hope we're able to sustain and carry forward, and the data will be updated and made much more regularly to us that are interested in using it for policy analysis. All
right, thank you very much, Dr. Chieh Champong, economist, political risk analyst, sharing your perspective with us on the subject matter there. Now, former Finance Minister Seth Terkper has attributed the recent improvement in Ghana's macroeconomic fundamentals to the Bank of Ghana's zero financing to government budget. Now, he believes this has been a major loophole in the nation's budget for several decades and needs to be resolved. Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Terkper said the economy is far from recovery and therefore wants the government to be efficient in spending to keep the fiscal economy stable. Here's more.
The IMF believes Ghana's recent reforms are making a difference, with the economy showing signs of stabilization. However, the former finance minister Seth Terkper, in an interview with Joy Business, cautions that full recovery is still distant.
No, that such high was reached because of the central bank deficit financing. So the fact that the central bank has stopped or has been stopped from deficit financing to move towards zero, financing of the budget, obviously will bring some discipline to the fiscal, which was being financed, right? And therefore, you expect some definite improvement, of that financing being, because it's monetization as is described, a part of the problem of inflation. Or all governments, single digits. Every government has aimed to be, you are now hovering, between 2013, and so that itself is a worry, in spite of you making, some progress.
While acknowledging some progress, Tekpe expressed concerns about the proposed emission tax, arguing it overlaps with existing excise duties on vehicles, creating double taxation and potentially leading to tax evasion.
Within our pillars of taxation, just like the VAT, which we are creating many levies and the rest, is an emission, our punitive tax under our excise regime. And I think if there's reason to impose additional, I think we should be clear that is probably for revenue reasons, because it's a punitive. And you even pay penalties. When a vehicle is above 10 years, they used to be confiscated, if you remember. Yeah. So we do have, so the more we duplicate, these things with the expectation of raising more revenue, you go into one major risk in taxation, which is the higher the tax burden, the higher your tax evasion and avoidance.
Emissions Levy Act imposes a levy of 100 Ghana cedi per ton on carbon dioxide equivalent emissions.
Now to one headline stories we have for you. World Safer Internet Day is an annual event celebrated globally on February 6, dedicated to promoting a safer and more responsible use of online technology. The day emphasizes the importance of creating a secure and positive digital environment for all users, especially children and young people. It serves as a reminder to raise awareness about online threats such as cyberbullying, identity theft, and malicious activities. In this report, my colleague Isaac Atasenyako takes a look at some of the happenings on the cyberspace.
5.3 billion out of 8 billion individuals worldwide use the internet. This represents over 70% of the world's population. Additionally, over 96% use their mobile devices to access the internet, while 62% use laptops and desktops. In Ghana, there are over 23 million internet users, representing 68% of the total population, with an active social media population of 6.6 million. According to the Bank of Ghana, the country witnessed a 6% increase in cyber email fraud, totaling 1,622 incidents in 2022. With phishing attacks being one of the prevalent risks in Ghana's cyberspace and social engineering a common modus operandi, the Cybersecurity Authority has initiated several awareness campaigns to educate the public on cyber risks and their mitigations. Clearly, more needs to be done to ensure a safer internet space.
All right, so let's have a discussion in the back of this. Joining us via Zoom is Stephen Kojo Seshi, lead computer emergency response team at the Cybersecurity Authority. Thanks so much, Stephen, for joining me on the marketplace. World Safer Internet Day. Tell us more about it.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. This celebration is really focused on the safe and responsible use of the internet, like you said, and the emphasis around this time every February, every year, is around the young people, children and young people, their safe use of the internet. And for that matter, this year, our theme says to empower minds, protecting rights, creating a safer digital Africa. Empowering minds, protecting rights, creating a safer digital Africa. And the target is the children, parents, caregivers, and educators. But of course, like you said, the internet is used by businesses as well, and they will not be left out.
And when it comes to Ghana's situation, Stephen, tell me more about it. Paint a picture for me when we talk about safe internet.
Well, internet is really a key resource to us. whether you are a student, whether you are a business, it's a key resource in doing your business effectively. And therefore, it's key to what everyone is doing. Definitely, we are seeing issues reported to us through our point of contact. We have a channel, several channels, in fact, for reporting incidents to the Cybersecurity Authority. We see a variety of reports. We have online scams. We are seeing stuff around ransomware. We are hearing issues around the usual fraud on mobile money and the like. There are several categories of the issues we see. But then when we focus on children, we are looking at, you can look at it from a number of perspectives. You can look at the content that they are exposed to, which would be harmful to them. So whether it's images, whether it's videos, or the words they are seeing. You can also talk about the things they experience when they contact people they do not know. So there are people out there on the internet that are out to exploit them. So you potentially might have them grooming them for sexual related crimes. You can look at even how they are treated online. You can talk about cyberbullying. You can talk about people sharing nude photos with them or getting them to share it. And then you can also talk about financial scams that they might be exposed to because they are playing games and they end up being scammed or they are involved in gambling. So these are from the children's perspective. When you look at businesses, there are things around phishing. There's issues around business email compromise where essentially it's phishing that is used to defraud a business. So someone is tricked to make a financial transaction which results in a loss to the business. So there's quite a wide array, but all these issues are stuff we are picking up.
And how prevalent are they basically at your office? How often do you get them recorded?
We record all these issues. As at the end of last year, we had well over 13,000 reports to us. And when we do the analysis, top of that list, almost close to half of it is some form of online scam. And then you'd have stuff around impersonation as well, all following in that order.
And what are some of the measures you are putting in place to fight these threats? So
a number of things. Top of that list is always around awareness creation, capacity building and awareness creation. And the point is, if the users of the technology are not aware of the dangers, they are likely to then fall for whatever is out there. So we emphasize a lot on creating awareness. Every month we release public alerts, which is based on an analysis of the calls we get. So last month we were talking about job scams, which were now prevalent, using social media to recruit people to do so-called online tasks, promising them some payments which never materialized, and the people rather end up putting in a lot of money to get paybacks that don't happen. So that's one way we approach it. We also then do what we call advisories. So based on the technical issues we see, we are still able to give advisories when you call us or when we notice specific trends out there. So we do all this. We spend time in school. So today, for example, as part of the celebrations, a number of the staff were in various schools to educate the children, also educate the parents with the necessary information they need to be able to keep safe out there.
Stephen Kojo Seshi, we are indeed grateful for your time. Lead Computer Emergency Response Team at the Cybersecurity Authority, speaking to us on the back of World Safer Internet Day. Now, before we go, the limited market reach of local businesses slows their growth and sometimes leads to business collapse. However, the emerging technology and digitalization in cooperation offer new opportunities for businesses to stay competitive and sustainable. Chief Executive Officer for Astolinks Limited is therefore entreating local small and medium businesses to digitize the operations for increased market share and global competitiveness. Here's a report.
Traditional methods of managing a business can hinder their survival in the rapidly changing market dynamics. Customer engagement, marketing strategy, record keeping are among efficient means of operating in the digital age. Chief Executive Officer of Astolink International, Richard Asumin, is encouraging investment in digital systems for sustainable operations.
At the moment, I can say that as the world has transformed, I want to encourage small and medium enterprises, local businesses, to all embrace this technological advancement and employ it. And because as a company based in Ghana, small company based in Ghana, ever since we started tapping into this golden technological advancement, we have become relevant so far as our market share is concerned and been able to compete globally. So I'm encouraging Ghanaian businesses, owners of businesses should bring in experts, especially growth consultants, help them develop their digital strategies. Like a lot of people still believe that they should focus on traditional media and they have not understood. So I also want to take the opportunity to say that people who are well versed in digital transformation should be able to come out and begin to share information on various platforms so that small and medium enterprises will be able to engage them.
Mr. Suman spoke at the staff retreat of Astrolink International on the theme Year of Growth and Innovation. The event assembled experts to educate and equip staff on work principles including counseling, general sales training and growth of the business.
We are not done yet, and I'm very optimistic that by the time we are done, we would have achieved it and our staff will be well informed so that they will go out and implement the various strategies we have implemented today.
Gad Okran is the Director of Growth and Innovation at Astrolink International.
To that effect, as a company that started from Kumasi as a small entity, now we have the state-of-the-art office at the Kumasi Mall, state-of-the-art office at this Legon in Accra, in Tekrade in the UK. And especially for our office at the Kumasi Mall, we are also pioneering the foremost digital hub, which currently is at the pilot stage, where we have younger people from Kent UST and fresh graduate that we are grooming and training in various digital skills, from data analytics to artificial intelligence to growth marketing, etc.
Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yabua.
And that's it for the bulletin. I am Pious Kojo Backah. For more stories, do log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Do have a lovely afternoon. Bye.